Hey there and welcome back. So as you can see behind me, we are on the layout up in the loft now. I don't really like to mention names, obviously without asking permission. So all I will say is that a subscriber person who's commented on a video has asked about the Hornby Select controller, what you saw me post. And now, in my opinion, this is the best controller to get started with DCC. I'm not biased, but having tried a couple of digital controllers, I've got the Signatrack now, which I absolutely love, and for me that's the one that I'm going to use going forward. But yeah, for me, for starting off with, and there are still sets, they are second-hand sets now, but there are still sets out there that you can get which does have this in it with a couple of locos. And do you know what, for getting started, for just having a try, in my opinion you can't do much better, because you can get a controller like this for, at some model shops I've seen them about £40–50, and for a DCC controller just to try, you're not going to get better value for that. And do you know what, for starting off they do exactly what you need them to. Yeah, they can be a little bit faffy but they are a fantastic controller to get started with. So I've got one set up on the track. I'm going to tell you today, or show you should say, a couple of do's and don'ts, and also obviously just the beginning on how to use it, how to set. I'm not going to go into tons of settings because you can only change a few settings on this controller, but I'm not going to go into changing speed and all that sort of thing. I'm literally just going to show you the absolute basics, if you're just trying it, what you need to know. Because it's pointless saying this, that and the other when, you know, all excuse me, do apologise, when all somebody may want to do is just put a train on, change the address, which we'll talk about, and just have a little go. And yeah, it's fantastic for doing that with. So we've got it set up, let's have a look, and I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so let's get started. So obviously you've just seen quickly in the shot then as I was doing the introduction, but this is your Hornby Select controller. As you can see there, it's got digital, and we have got it plugged into our track. So you've got your positive, you've got your negative, you've got your input, which is from your power supply. I've left that unplugged at a minute so I can show you it starting up. You've got the express net, which is where you can link different ones together, but again, that's something I've never used. That's for different functions. And then you've got a 15-volt DC. So this isn't the digital signal, this is a analog signal for using for auxiliaries, for example point motors, light signals, that kind of thing. So you do have that option on this, which is fantastic. Loco address, basically, let's say you've got 2 or 3 trains on your layout, you have them what is called a address. So in other words, that locomotive is that number. Now, what will this controller actually use, or how many trains? So the standard controller with the power source, this will control up to 3 to 4 trains at once. So in other words, you can have, say, train 3, 7, 9 running on your tracks, and this will power them absolutely no problems. If you start trying to run a lot more than that, you'll overload the power source, this will overheat, and what will happen is it will trip out and it won't be able to power them. So you need something that could power, you know, you can buy an upgraded power source what will let you power a couple more, but in fairness, most controllers like this, they do have or even different ones, they do have a limit to how many trains that they will run at any one given time. Now on the controller, as you can see, we've got 2 arrows. These are your directional arrows. So you've got forwards, you've got backwards, and then you've got your function button, select, and then cancel button, which, well, it will cancel whatever order you've just put in. So to select a train on this, all you have to do is press number 1, press select. As you can see, that has changed now to number 1, which will be allocated to, say, your Flying Scotsman, and away you go. It is as easy and as simple as that. That is what I love about this controller. Let's say you've got, I don't know, a class 08, which I have got to show you today. So you would say it's a train is called an 08, so you put it to 08. So you've put 08, select, you are now in control of that train, and you want to send it that way at that speed, and away you go. Absolutely. Sorry, I do apologise if my voice seems to be going a little today. Absolutely fantastic. Simple. So, let's say you're going to go to train 2. And you're like, oh, actually, I made a mistake. That's not the one that I want. Press your cancel button, and it will go back to what you just had. Simple. How easy is that? Now, your function button. That is for if you've got trains with sounds, lights, all that good stuff. It's got a digital chip in it, or a decoder chip, and that allows you to use the functions on the train. So again, super easy. You've got train 08 selected, you want to turn the lights on, which is normally function 1, so you just press 1, function, and, well, actually that said off. Why was that off? So let me just do that again, but that's how you turn them off. So you press 1, function, you'll see on, and that function, what you've just put in, is turn that function on. Again, to turn it off, you press 1, you turn it off. Simple. Absolutely brilliant. Now, if you have an emergency on the track, or you're like, uh-oh, it's gone a bit pear-shaped, I need to stop everything, that's what this is for. Hit that button, or not hit that button, press that button, and as you can see, everything's flashing. You've got a red light on, both of these are flashing. You've got the E5, now that's supposed to be error stop, or roughly to read that. That means that you've hit the switch, something's gone wrong, everything's stopped, which is good because you can do a rapid shutdown. Most controllers will have that function, but again, big red button saying stop, it's very you can't miss it basically without any faff of trying to find a little tiny button or a switch or something. So if that happens, and you're like, right, okay, got it sorted, all you need to do then is press stop again. It'll revert back to what it was doing, and away you go. Now, a good thing with this and with these controllers, if something happens on the track, let's say a loco decides to have a fault for any reason, if it comes on off the track, if it decides to touch more rails than it should do, and it risks shorting out the track, the controller, the train, and damaging everything, then the good thing with these controllers is they have a immediate shut off function, and what will happen is it will basically do that on its own without pressing the button. That's just to show you. So if you say press the button and it's still going on like this, you know that there's, if you've say moved a train, you know that there's still some form of a fault, and the controller basically is, as a safety feature, isn't letting you carry on because you may do some damage somewhere, and it's just protecting your layout, trains, etc. And absolutely fantastic, and it's so easy. Okay, so roughly that is everything to do just with using this to control trains and how to activate your functions. So let's get a bit off with the more boring stuff. Let's get a train onto the track, and yeah, let's show you this working. Okie dokie, so here we have our train. We have our nice little standard 08 shunter. Now, as you can see, the controller is on. And let's just put, I know what the number of this is, so let's say this is on 1. And if I turn the controller up, as you can see, nothing will happen because that decoder does not recognize it's been chosen. So all we need to do is press 3, press select. So we've now got number 3 train chosen, which would be this one. Let's turn up our controller. So this train is set to number 8 because it's an 08, so it's not number 3. Let's get back to our regular scheduled filming in a more professional manner starting from now. Right, now we've got the right number selected. So we've got 8 selected. We've set our forward direction. Let's turn the dial up. And away the train goes. Let's change direction. And the train goes back the other way. Now, this is the good thing with digital, because if I get this train, turn it around the other way, now as you just saw, it went backwards. We've still got reverse selected or backwards. If I turn it up, it still goes backwards. Now on a analog set, I've unplugged all my analog for the moment, because I've only got the one track working for safety, and I'll show you why. If I was to say turn that train on, send it to go in this direction, and then I was to turn it round, send it in reverse, it would still go in this direction, because the power is going round the circuit. Basically, just for very simple terms, it's constantly going to go that way. It doesn't change. Whereas inside the train, because we have flying buffers, we're just going to or rail stops, we're just going to leave that one there. Hopefully it won't launch itself for the rest of the video, because there's a digital power going around the track. The decoder inside the train tells it which direction it's going to move. Now let me show you this. So in the siding here we have 2 trains, and I'm going to do this very quickly. So let me just pop this train here. Now this is the biggest do not never do, or if you do, stop it immediately, to do with digital. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to flick this set of points and just listen and watch what happens. Now, hear that absolute awful racket? That's because this doesn't have a decoder in it, and basically the motor is screaming inside, even though it's not moving, because a digital signal, the motor cannot do anything with it, it can't cope with it. So if you were to leave this on for a long period of time, you are highly likely to damage the train. Now if you saw then, the light came on in the cab at full brightness. If you've got lights with a digital track, because the voltage is always maximum, they'll always come on at full brightness, which is fantastic. But as you just heard then, it makes an absolute terrible noise. The reason why this one doesn't is because of the little decoder what's fitted inside of it. What that does, that converts the digital signal from this, turns it to analog for the motor for this, and basically it means that it will work perfectly. So yeah, that is a please do not, never do that. There is a thing where so-called if you put this controller on 0 it will change and work analog trains. I've not had that happen. I've tried it once, it didn't do anything, so please don't do that, because yeah, you just do not want to damage any of your trains. Now let's pop this one here. Brilliant. So I've just put another digital train on with this one. This is the good thing about digital. I've got number 8 selected. I'll go back to my track and still one train moves. So because I've not got the number selected for this one, only this one, it means that it's not going to go anywhere. So to control this train, we need to press 3 and select, and that now will control this train, while this one still isn't moving. Simple as that. This is what's brilliant about digital on and this controller, because it's so easy. Now, where I've said about functions, let's just, that one's on. So functions, you can press 0 and function, which will turn on function 0 on this, or if you just press this on its own, the default is set to 0, which is lights. And then as you can see, we have got our lights on the train, and the good thing obviously with lights is that you can easily see the direction. So fantastic. And I mean, this one here, this one doesn't have lights on it, but if it did, it wouldn't turn any lights on with that, because that one isn't even chosen. Now the good thing about this one is this is a all singing, all dancing, a woohoo train. So press 1, press function, that switched it on. And there we go, we have sound. Fantastic. And again, let's try a horn. I'm actually quite pleased that I've done that one. Let's just try this one. There we go. Right. So, as you see with this controller, all it does is it tells you, turns it on, then it turns it off. Now, certain sounds, like this one, you press it, and that turned it on, and all that did was make the little noise that's programmed in just for a second. But if you press it again, see, off, because you've got to turn off that function. All this does is turn the functions on and off. It's not a you press it and then when you release it, it turns off like some controllers may do. This is it's either on or it's off. So this one here, if I turn this one on, that will stay on. That would just stay on until you then turn it off. Now, here is the thing with this controller, and other controllers do it, but just to show you, because I've jumped a few times from doing it, if, let's just say, in fact, let me cancel that one, number 3, that. If you then switch off your layout and you've forgotten that you have things on and then you've left and turned off, when you plug back in, as you can see, the horn went off because the function was still on, so it activates it straight away and it started up. So there isn't anything that is not from this world that is controlling the train, it's just that you've left your function on, so you always need to make sure you turn it off for each train that you're using. And yeah, so there we go, we've got it. And as you can see as well, so forward direction, it's changed, so that is the forward direction. And this is good for certain people, because if you want to, some people like to make sure that the train's running in the actual forward direction. Left on this controller is always forward. So if I choose, I pressed the wrong button. If I choose 8, which is the other train, as you can see, it always moves it forward. Now, here is a good thing. I've changed the direction on the train what I've just chose, number 8. So as you can see, whee, it's now going backwards. If I go back to our number 3 train, see how it's changed? That's because it remembers in what direction that the train was running, and that's brilliant. So if you're a case of, I can't remember which way it was supposed to be going, the controller will actually tell you, and that is fantastic. So we've got gain 6, that's on brakes, you always have to turn it off. Number 4, that's on brakes again, always have to turn it off. And there you go. So let's choose number 3 train. Let's set it forward. As you can see, the lights have changed. And with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this beginner introductory into DCC. I know I always say this, but I do hope I've not bored you too much with the way I've gone on about it. But I've tried to incorporate as much as I think a beginner person may need to know, give you as much information as I can, and I hope it's come across in a less boring way. So yeah, I do apologise, but yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. So let's finish this off. Let's hear our train and let's set it off. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, like and subscribe if you would, that would be absolutely fantastic. And again, I've hoped you've enjoyed this video, and as always, we shall see you as it derails in the next video.
Rolling camera for take 2 please, due to derailing of the last train. Let's try this again, and action.
Okay, so we've got our train set to the right direction. We have got it all ready to run. Oh, I just thought this might have been fun to add right at the end. So let's behave. Let's sound the horn when we turn it back on, because we forgot to turn it off. And with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you would like to there we go, there's the second one. Thumbs up, like and subscribe if you would. That would be fantastic. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you behave, we shall see you in the next video.